Back to that 14-year-old, what was the decision-making process you can remember going through at that point?
Well, it was kind of a, let's say, joint-ish decision between me and my parents, especially my dad. He took me to all my karting races. He was my mechanic when I was racing in Australia. My mum was very supportive in kind of allowing me to chase my dreams, but not particularly interested in motorsport. She was interested in my racing, obviously, but also very supportive in that I've got 3 younger sisters, and it would have been quite easy for her to turn around and say, I can't look after the girls and kind of not see my dad or me so often. It would have been quite easy for her to turn around and say that, but she didn't. She let me do it and kind of did her best to make it work. So I think that side of things was one thing, but I did a race the year before in 2014, which was kind of the litmus test for basically whether my dad was going to put in the time and the money to try and give me a crack at racing in Europe. And that race went well. I finished 3rd, and then I did a few more races the following year in 2015, which also went reasonably well, but we could kind of see that compared to the guys that were, I did the European Championships and I think one other race, and all the other kids were racing every second weekend basically, and you could kind of tell that we were doing a good job for the amount of kind of effort and time we were putting in, but to do it properly, or to get ultimate success, we needed to do it properly, and the only way to do it properly is to commit to it and move to Europe. So for me at the time, there was kind of the weighing up of, I'm going to be leaving Australia, I'm going to be leaving my friends behind, not being able to see my sisters in particular, not seeing my mum that much. My dad was there for the first 6 months, pretty much full time, and then I went to boarding school after that. So the idea of going to live at school wasn't the most appealing at 14 years old, but I knew that, I had to weigh up, do I want to continue on this path? Firstly, racing against the best guys in the world, which I'm really enjoying. And, at this fork in the road, either I keep doing this and kind of keep making those sacrifices, or I go back to Australia and probably try and race V8 supercars. That probably would have been the plan. But I had the passion. My family was supportive in they were supporting me both with time, effort with my sisters and making it work, and financially as well. So I kind of thought, well, if they're willing to help me with this and I really want to do it, then why not? There's plenty of opportunities here if I do a good enough job. So I better make sure I do a good job.
You at 14, do you believe you'll be a Formula 1 driver or an F1 world champion? What would you have said?
Honestly, probably no.
Really?
Yeah. I was realistic, and I think until I got to F2, my goal, I always kind of split it into my dream and my goal. My dream was always to be an F1 driver, but my goal was always to just be a professional racing driver. I just wanted to race cars for a living. I didn't really mind if it was an F1 car, a supercar in Australia, GT cars, IndyCar even. Although with age, I'm not so sure I'd go race IndyCar now. But I wanted to be a professional racing driver, and I was very realistic that, my chances of getting to F1 are incredibly small.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of accepted that from a young age, but I also thought, even if I don't make it to F1, I'm just going to get as far as I can up the junior ladder, and if I don't make it, then hopefully there's an opportunity that comes from racing in F3 or F2. And I didn't really let myself kind of dare to, turn that dream into a goal until I got to F2 and started to fight for the championship there, that I went, okay, and even then it was kind of more a logical step of going, okay, well, the next thing, if this goes well, say if I win this year, the only step left is F1, rather than going like, I'm in F2 now, okay, now I really want to get to F1. It was kind of, okay, well, things are still going well in the junior ranks, so the next step is F1, and that's a pretty cool place to land. So I was very realistic early on that the chances of making it happen were going to be small. But, you know, I guess the saying of, well, somebody's got to do it, is very much true. And I think when you're a kid, it seems very far away, and that kind of feeling of, you know, someone does have to fill those seats on the grid, feels incredibly distant and hard to achieve. But as you get a little bit closer, you go, okay, I can actually be one of the people to do this.